Good morning. Sorry I'm about 5 minutes late. Every time I think I know how to go Facebook Live, Facebook changes the format on the group page, and I've got to figure out how to get live. But here I am, ready to go. It's Saturday morning. It's a beautiful day in Nashville for the winter. I hope you guys are having great weather wherever you are. And if you don't live in California, be thankful because right now they're taking their boats out instead of their cars. More rain than they've ever seen in the history of record keeping for rain in California. But they had a drought, and so some of that is welcome. So here are the questions this morning. And we don't have very many, obviously. These numbers, the number of questions has shrunk every month, but feel free to reach out with these questions. If you think of one during this broadcast, send it in, okay? So the question asked was, what suggestions would you have to help me get more people and press to our grand opening of our new retail grocery store opening? The background, we have a specialty international convenience and grocery store brick and mortar location, and they want to get more people to the location. So if you're in a commercial location, the first thing I would do is I would go door to door to the other businesses in the area and invite them to this grand opening. Secondly, if possible, I would get somebody in the neighborhood to put door hangers or flyers on people's doors or mailboxes. You can't stick it in the mailbox legally. You can illegally, of course. But anyway, I would do that. If it's possible to get a mailing list for the zip code around your property, I would do a direct mail to that zip code. And those kind of things will cause you to have a great grand opening. Now you have some people coming in anyway. Be sure to hand them a flyer when they leave to remind them about the grand opening so they'll come back to it then. But those are all things that you can do. Now I work with a man who owns 5 check cashing stores in markets like yours, and then he owns one market like yours, and we've had a lot of luck with banners, and we've had a lot of luck putting flyers on windshields, the car windshields that are in the parking lot around where his grocery store is. So those are some ideas, and I think those are some really good ones, and I know every one of them has worked for people in your situation, so now all you have to do is go do it. That's the hard part. The next question is from Ann Fonseca Ong, and that question was from Gupta, by the way. Sorry, Gupta. If you needed to develop a business plan, would you hire someone or use an off-the-shelf software to do it yourself if this is your first time doing this? Okay, here's the background. I designed a clear festival bag that lights up in 3 modes. I have sample products already. I need help on how to write a solid business plan for investors to help me launch it. Okay, got a lot of thoughts about this. So, and the first thing is, you've got to have proof of concept before you do anything. So go ahead and make sure people will buy this bag. And the more of those you sell prior to going to see investors, the better. Secondly, if you'll go on the SBA, Small Business Administration website, it's a government website, they will give you the outline for a business plan. I've used it before. I've had lots of people use it. And there's no reason to buy a piece of software to write a business plan because it's right there online and all you do is fill in the blanks. And it will be quite a large piece of large document by the time you get done because the SBA is very thorough in their description of how to write a business plan. Okay, so now go do it. If you have questions, bounce them in and I'll walk you through the process. Next from Robin. Hey Robin, thank you for always having a question for me. How could I convince someone to partner or invest in my business as an artist? Robin, I do not know the answer. And I think it's a great answer, but I do not know the answer. I know how you get people to invest in a business though. The way they invest in a business is you say, I would like you to put some money in my business, and now when my business is up and running, it will generate profits, and those profits will pay you back not only your investment, but give you a return on your investment. So if you can't show an investor a way to get his money back, you're kind of wasting your time asking for investors. Hey, Jen, welcome aboard. You're up early. Glad to see it. I know you're working hard already today. That's good. But anyway, back to Robin's question. So, Robin, that's the only hope you have for a question like that, and that is to figure out a way that you can get the guy his money back. And then if you can figure out a way to get the guy his money back, maybe you're better off borrowing the money from a bank and paying them back than you are giving away part of your business. Okay? This is from Kimberly Benjamin. She asks, what is the best way to launch a new product and get a lot of people talking about it? Well, there's 1,000, I'm not exaggerating, 1,000 articles on the internet on how to launch a new product and get a lot of people talking about it. The description of her business is, I am a go-getter at heart, all day hustling, no sleep, as I sit here and think about ways I can educate people about my product while getting them to buy at the same time. I know there has to be a faster way than going from salon to salon, hair show to hair show, and I'm open to any suggestions that will give me momentum. I need to help scale the business as fast as possible. Of course, everybody wants to scale their business as fast as possible. I find it interesting that Kimberly does not tell us what the product is in the question. It would be a lot easier for me to answer it if I knew what the product was. I know you sell it to hair salons, I know you sell it at hair shows, but what it is, I don't know. Maybe it's combs, maybe it's a product that enhances hair. I have no idea. Maybe it's a set of clippers that are over the top. But anyway, whatever the product is, I think, the traditional ways to promote it are the same. You do emails, you do Instagram, you do Facebook, you do TikTok, you do every Twitter, you do every form of social media that you can do, and you do it a lot. And if you're not posting 3 times a week on all of those, then you're not maximizing the reach of your posts, according to the experts. So I can't, off the top of my head, tell you how to promote a product. I can give you some ideas like I just did. But just Google, how do you promote a product? And then do everything they tell you to do on that article, and then read the next article and do everything they tell you to do in that article. There's, a million ways to promote your product, but like you were saying, a good start is working 12 hours a day on promoting it, right? And be sure to tell people what it is, okay? All right. Now the last question is from Ricardo Delgado. He is at premiumbarbershop@gmail.com. His question is, what type of health life insurance do small business owners have? I run a barbershop business with 2 to 3 more barbers and myself. What are the best ways for me to figure out what types of health insurance I should or could offer for my team and myself? Thanks. So, again, I'm not an insurance expert. It's so interesting, these questions. What I am really an expert at is building a business, scaling a business, and making sure that you can provide service for the products you're selling as you grow, okay? Or idea, service, whatever it is, whatever you're selling, okay? But I will tell you that, there are insurance experts out there. And for example, what kind of life insurance do you have? I don't know what your situation is. If you're a single man with no kids and no wife, then maybe you don't need life insurance. If you have a family, you may need to create an estate in case of an untimely demise. If you would pass away pre-expectation, then maybe it would be a good idea for you to have some life insurance. But, the younger you are, the less likely you are to have an untimely demise, and so the less you need insurance. And the less debt burden you have and responsibilities you have, the less you need life insurance. Now, you can get group health insurance for your people, but you're going to have to go to an insurance broker and ask. Typically, young people will get catastrophic insurance. In other words, you won't get insurance for little things. You'll pay that out of pocket. but you'll get catastrophic insurance in case something really big happened to you, like open heart surgery, or something like that. And so that is kind of the idea on insurance coverages. Be sure you have property and casualty insurance as well, okay? So those were all the questions this morning, and I thought, gosh, that is really 4 or 5 questions. I can do better than this for you guys if you'll ask me the questions, I promise you. But let me give you an idea about the new year, since this is my first video in the new year. So here you have a chance to start over. And I asked people about their goals for this year, and I work with 10 or 15 companies that are of all different sizes. I guess the biggest one I work with now is 15 billion, and the smallest one I work with is a startup, a solopreneur. But in all of those, I ask them what their goals are, and they give me their goals, and sometimes they do it intelligently, and sometimes they don't. Intelligent goal setting means you've got to look at your history. So I work with an accounting firm, for example, and they want to add 400,000 in new revenue next year. It's a pretty big firm. And so I say, how do you add 400,000? The first thing you do is you see what the average new customer brought in 2022. So look at what your average new customer brought in 2022. Then let's say we're going for 4,000. The average new customer brought in $10,000 last year. Some were 20,000, some were 5,000, but the average was 10. So you can do the math. At $10,000 a customer, how many customers do we need to get to 400,000? 40. 40 customers gets $400,000. Now we're still setting goals for 2023. So now we know we've got to sell 40 new customers and that the averages will take care of us. Now we say to ourselves, okay, there are 12 months in the year. If I need 40 customers, that means I need 3.2 customers a month. And if I need 3.2 customers a month, basically that's 1 new customer a week. And so I say to myself, 3 weeks out of the month, I'm going to get a new customer, and 1 week out of the month, I'm going to miss 6 months. But the other 6 months, I got to get a customer a week. Now we know how many customers we need to get to 400,000 in new revenue. Now what do? We say, okay, so how many people do I have to see before somebody buys? What's my closing percentage? Well, in this particular firm, we know from 2022, and you should be looking at 2022 as you set these goals. As we look at 2022, we see that they were able to sell 1 out of 3 people that they talked to, that they gave first presentations to, that they told their story to and asked them if they wanted to buy. Basically a presentation. So if they sell 1 in 3 and they need 40, how many new do they have to see? Yeah, that's right. They need to see 120. Now we do the math again. 12 months in the year, how many new do they need to see a month? 10. And how many weeks are there in the month? 4. So 2 weeks they have to see 2, they got to see 10, right? And there are 4 weeks, so they got to, so 2 or 3, well, let's just do it this way. 3 weeks, they got to see 3, and 1 week, they got to see 1. And if they then see 10 new businesses a month, they'll have a really good shot at their goal. But to pick a goal like they did, which is say we need 400,000 in new revenue, is using what I call the PFTA method, pluck from thin air. But when you break it down like that based on past results and history, then you have accurate goal setting. And, I ran a public company for a couple of years, and this is the way public companies set their budgets for the next year, exactly as I described to you on a much simpler, lower level. And if you want to know what your expenses are going to be so you can figure out what your profit goal should be, then look at your expenses from 2022, add 10% to it for the cost of living, inflation, whatever, then figure out if you're going to have additional expenses or if any of the expenses from 2022 went away. And then you're going to be able to say, okay, this is going to be my expenses. And that is the rudimentary way that you set a budget and also the way you set goals for 2023. And you guys can do great in 2023 if you have a plan. But without a budget, without a goal, without a plan, I don't think you have much hope of accomplishing what you want to accomplish in your head. And it all needs to be written down, and you need to tell somebody really important to you about it, so it puts pressure on you to perform, and then you need to go out and do it. And when you hit a bump, you don't have any excuses. No excuses accepted today. You are not allowed, once you set these goals, to say, well, my car broke down. Oh, my wife got sick. Oh, I got sick. Oh, there was a death in the family. Oh, we had this problem. We had that problem. Because everybody has problems, right? And I'm sympathetic to your problems. And I'm sorry you have to go through that emotional pain. I am. And I'm sorry when I have to go through it too. But I'm not going to allow it to be an excuse for my failure to perform what I told myself I could do and would do. Okay? So anyway, I'm looking forward to seeing you some at the sales conference. I hope if you haven't signed up for the sales conference yet, you will. And I think I saw there were a couple of spots left. And everybody have a great week. And let's make 2023 our best year ever. All right? Thanks. Talk to you soon.